Hey everybody. I got a smartphone recently for the first time. Up until now, my wife and I have been using flip phones. This We don't want to spend the money on having pocket computers because we've got desktop computers and laptop computers and tablets. But getting a flip phone was a more expensive option than getting a smartphone when we needed to upgrade because our network is not going to do, a measly little 3G anymore. And the smartphone's still usable for doing the phone calls for emergencies that we might need or to be in touch with each other. We don't have the Wi-Fi on it, but there's still a camera on it, and I figured, hey, I'm not making as many videos as I want because during the workday I'm just, very busy, and at night I'm tired. But I've seen other people doing videos from their cars, and while my reasons for it aren't the same as theirs, it's a convenient thing. I can talk about ideas that I have when they're percolating and half-baked rather than, weeks or months later when they're overbaked. So what I was thinking about today is I'm a member of a couple of Facebook groups where that are for learning tarot, for more experienced people to help newer people, understand what they're doing. And I'm not going to throw out their names here because they wouldn't let me advertise my videos, so I'm not going to say, hey, join this Facebook group. I saw a couple of times in the last week people displaying like a Celtic cross that they dealt and asking for people's opinions on what it meant. And the same person twice said, there's too much information here. You should just be doing a 3-card pull. You don't ever need as much information as you're getting in this Celtic cross. And that's been sort of irritating to me, so I figured while I'm on my smoke break from work, I'll talk about it a bit. Now, all that said, I should do a caveat. I'm coming at this from the perspective of a reader who uses systems rather than like what they're calling an intuitive reader, but what I would call a psychic reader. A lot of whom will say, well, I can look at a couple of cards and know everything that I need to know, and half of my brain says, I just don't believe it. The other half says, well, I'm a magic practitioner, so I should be open to the possibility of anything, and I am. But I am approaching this from the point of view of somebody who works a system or two. And I do think that everybody is an intuitive reader to some extent who reads, because you are intuiting from various possible meanings and systems what is applicable in a particular situation. And I believe that working with the tarot does increase a person's intuition. So I'm not going to discount out of hand. I'm just going to say I am not a psychic reader. So, in any event, from my perspective, I only see 3 uses for a 3-card reading. The first is when you're learning the cards. It's a way to get hands-on early on and to get some hands-on experience, to get familiar with the cards, to get familiar with reading them. And it's a good way to see how they work in multiple ways. I mean, for example, you can do a 3-card reading every morning and write it in your journal, and then at the end of the day, you can go back to it and look at it and see what happened during your day and what did the cards tell you that you could interpret as them having said to you that maybe you didn't get because you're new. And so it's a very practical way of getting used to what's on the card in front of you and comparing it to what's going on in life in front of you. Also, you know, if you have to look up a lot of cards every time you do it, that just aids in the process of learning the cards. The second thing that I think is useful about a 3-card reading is if you're in a real hurry. It's a quick answer to a question, which isn't necessarily a good thing, but sometimes you really are in a hurry, and that's all there is to that. The other thing that I find useful about them is when I'm doing live broadcasts, and I want to do as many readings for as many people as possible and spend as less energy as possible on it, and save up bigger, more detailed readings for like paying customers. A 3-card reading is enough to give a taste and to engage with people, get to know people, work with them a bit. And it isn't going to kill me to do, 10 of those in a row, whereas, 10 opening by key, or opening of the key, is going to put me in bed for a month. So those are the 3 reasons. Now, the question of the last one of these that I saw asked was, what does she feel about me? And I hate that question. It's a bad question. I need to do a whole video just on questions. The thing is, my problem with the 3-card, the guy saying that this should be a 3-card reading, there's too much information in this Celtic Cross, is that it makes a lot of assumptions about life that just aren't true, like that everything is simple. I know there's a lot of people striving for simplicity, and a lot of people think simplicity is the best way to do everything. And there's some truth to that, but the fact is life isn't particularly simple. Especially if this is about a romance or a friendship or a relationship of some sort, or would-be relationship. Those are complicated. That's just the way life is. There's no way around that. If you're looking at what does she feel about me, that can change. I mean, you're looking at a split second in time as you've dealt the cards, and feelings can change really quickly. I mean, you can see in the cards this person is madly in love with you or very interested in you, and 10 minutes later that can be very different. Also, what is the motivation behind the question? Is it that you're hoping for a romance or a relationship? Somebody can really like you and maybe even have romantic feelings for you, but for other reasons might determine not to engage with you. It could be that, that the person has decided to take time off from dating in order to focus on career, and that's feelings are a cups thing, and the career, that intellectual decision can be a swords thing, and the career can be a pentacles thing, and you don't necessarily get that information just from 3 cards. You just might get, yes, she likes you, and not get, but she's not going to date you because. Psychological things, Freudian psychology. There could be some problem with her father or mother that has affected her mind in such a way that although she's got a stirring for you, it ain't something that she's going to follow through on. I've known people who have refused to date people that they're really attracted to just because they've been attracted to people who are a lot like that person in the past, and they've been hurt, and that hurt is ever present in their mind when they're with this new person who, is similar. So, like I said, it's complicated, and you're not necessarily going to get all that from a 3-card spread. Could give somebody false hope that the person likes me, oh cool, only to discover that there isn't a chance. And it can go the other way. A 3-card spread can say the person isn't really interested in you, and they might not be really interested in you now, but a month from now or a week from now, after getting to know you a little better, that could change. And it would be nice to have that sort of information if you're really interested. Like one of the problems with these groups on Facebook, too, is that a lot of people are learning how to be readers, and they might just be asking any questions that come to mind just to learn the cards. And that being the case, maybe the 3-card reading is just fine, but if they're serious about the question, it's not necessarily going to give them as much information as they do need. Anyway, I've got to get back to work, and this was fun, and I'll do more of it. Thanks. Bye-bye.